Oh, look at that. That looks great.
No, we're beautiful today.
Best lit show in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Big breakthrough this week.
Chaz learned how to use his camera.
Hey Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine is Serious Business, episode
238.
Thank you for that.
Pretty sure there. It's off the top of my head, but whatever. It's not like anybody will give us a hard time if we're wrong about the number.
No, absolutely not. So today's July 4th. First thing I want to say is to all our viewers, hope you're having a great Independence Day. So far, so good for me. Dan's been kind of under the grindstone lately.
Yeah.
With work, but so I thought, hey, what should we drink on a celebratory day with some sparkling wine, right? Had these in the fridge.
Yeah.
Picked them up at Michael Alberty's shop, Storyteller Wines. If you're not already on his email list, or you live in Portland and don't go to his tastings, you should. And if you are not on his email list, it's a great email list. He tells some really great information about the wines, some good stories. Some of his tasting notes are just absolutely money, right? What was the last one that he...
This wine is as black as the soul of Luis Suarez, or something like that.
Yeah. So I picked up both these at his shop. We're going to start out with the Kramer. Both these are Oregon wines. I believe Oregon wines. The Syncline might be part Washington, part Oregon, because it doesn't say whether it's Oregon on it. This is a producer that makes wine from the Columbia Gorge, but we're going to start with the 2011 Kramer Brut Zero Dosage. So
yeah. So if you don't know, most sparkling wine, champagne style or method champenois anyway, like in Champagne, they ferment they do the double fermentation to get the bubbles.
Yeah.
And they consume a lot of the sugar in the process, so they usually add a little bit of unfermented juice or sweet wine back. Is it unfermented juice or just wine that's with RS in it? I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
that's good information, or a good question for anybody that actually knows. So.
Cam, I'm sure you'll see this and be able to correct us. But anyway, typically some sweet juice is added back into the wine.
Mm-hmm. Or some sugar, right?
Yeah, that's done too. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. So it's definitely been gaining more popularity, at least amongst the people we drink with, to do zero dosage wines. So these are much drier style bubblies. It's not something you can do all the time. I think you really have to have good fruit character in the grapes, and that's something why there's not a lot of it going around, right? Because sugar can provide some mouthfeel, it can provide a degree of complexity that if your fruit doesn't have it, it makes the wine more enjoyable.
That totally makes sense. All right, so let's go and try it out. Wow, that smells good.
Yeah, there's no lack of complexity here, though, right? Definitely.
It smells better than when I tasted it at Alberty's shop. It might be the different stems too. I know.
Could be, and this is just pop and pour right now.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Super fresh nose, right? And kind of a whole array of aromas. Definitely lending towards a strong citrus component. There's an apple to it. It's like fresh apple, nowhere near bruised or oxidized apple.
Not at all.
Like this is completely fresh. Maybe a hint of stone fruitiness, but just screams freshness on the nose, which is really nice.
Yeah, a little yeasty note too, but like light fresh bread, not like some heavier like bread crust or pie crust that I get at some champagnes.
Right. Yeah, it smells really good.
Yeah.
This is doing better than when I had it at Alberty's shop. I liked it then. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, power of suggestion, but...
It's nice. This is definitely quite tart. A lot of green apples going on there.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Initial touchdown is really gentle though. Like some of the sparklers that are like heavily driven with like this has a ton of acid that really kind of comes right down the center of the mouth on the tongue on the finish, but the initial touchdown is really nice and really soft, and the bubbles have a really good texture to them.
I agree with that. I think the texture is really nice here.
Yeah.
And some of the stone fruit from the nose, I think I'm getting on the palate. It's kind of underneath the green apple. Man, it really is like a mouthful of green apple. Maybe you bite a little bit of the core, but there's some peach flavors I think bring some complexity.
Maybe because I just had it, but had an underripe apricot, right? Like maybe an underripe stone fruit.
Sure.
Sort of tastes very similar to that actually, and really, really tart. Like it's sort of initially sweet, but then it just hits you with a lot of tartness. So, and this has got that.
Yeah.
Killer acid though.
Yeah, man. The texture, like the bubbles, work really well with the acid. I think a lot of times with something this This is acidic, like the bubbles can make it push it into kind of sharp. That's not going on here at all.
No, there's no sharpness to this, which is really nice.
And having a chance to taste it, kind of like this is the first thing I've tasted tonight, so like I'm getting more of the experience. Like I think it lingers on the palate really, really nicely. Like the flavors on the finish are really clean and have a sense of depth to them, which is really enjoyable.
Yeah, for me, the young apricots sort of things really sticks around for a while, but it almost lends to like young white grapes. It can almost taste the wine grapes in this. Like it's very grapey on the finish, very tart flavors, but with a really good sense of lingering, almost like the sweetness from the fruit without the sugar. I don't know, it's really good. So
Yeah.
super solid sparkler from Oregon. I mean, we're talking really killer juice here. So 89 plus, 90 points, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
I mean, like it's one of the better sparklers out of Oregon currently, and yeah, kills Argyle if you can find this bottle in particular.
Yeah, I'm right on the edge there too. I think I'm going to go 90 with it. I like the 2010 better for sure. But the last time I had this at the same tasting, wasn't as excited about it, but I'm enjoying it much more. In this context and this time around.
Yeah.
What really does it for me is that little bit of complexity. So
Agreed.
make sure I think if you drink it, like give yourself some space where you can really taste that on your palate, really get the depth that's going on. Because it's pretty subtle too, right? Like the complexity doesn't really slap you in the face. It's not an overwhelming wine in that sense. So.
And the texture, right?
Yeah,
the texture of this is just absolutely killer. So, on to our second wine. This is Scintillation Brut Rosé from Syncline Winery. I believe this is a non-vintage wine, a little rinse. So all Columbia Gorge fruit, which is really interesting considering this is almost a 50-50 blend of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Chardonnay you'd sort of expect out of the Columbia Gorge, but not Pinot Noir. I haven't had much of it, so it was really interesting when he was talking about the wine and poured it for me, just to, wow, this is completely different. So
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about it either. So apparently this isn't a small, or it used to be sort of a small run wine.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't make a lot of it, and sort of it all went out to their wine club.
Mm-hmm.
And then they upped the production, I think is what he told me. I
Oh.
think. And so
Cool.
another one though that doesn't see a lot of distribution, but if you can find it, I don't know. I liked it at the tasting, so I bought these
Nice.
with the intention of really bringing them home to drink, honestly.
Yeah.
And then Dan was like, "Oh, we should film a show," and this is what I had in the fridge. So this is how.
Lucky us, though. Really, I
Yeah.
think you could do a lot worse for two
Totally.
random picks. Like I said, like a lot of times I'm the one that's picking the wines out, so it's nice to have a jazz show. So
All right. So nice color. Man, that smells crazy. What's that smell like?
a little more Pinot Noir coming through there. I'm getting like some raspberries. I'm getting something
There you
kind of
go.
like salmon there too. It's like
Dan nailed it with the raspberries.
Okay.
That's it. It was like fresh raspberries. Like I stuck my nose in a thing of fresh raspberries. It was a distinct aroma.
And you said this was zero dosage too, right?
Yeah,
So that's interesting,
Looked
yeah.
up the information sheet on this before we started the show. No SO2 and zero dosage.
Cool.
So cool wine. But man, the aromas on the nose are just popping. There is a lot of
Yeah, raspberries totally. Yeah.
Raspberries sort of stick out in front for me. I don't get any of the salmon. Just fresh raspberries. I don't know. It smells awesome though.
And I mean like good meaty. Like I don't mean like it's a fishy wine.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. It's just specified.
No, it's yeah. I should have.
This is just a joy to smell. It smells like fresh fruit.
Yeah. Man, totally different wines.
Right? Maybe the glasses have something to do with it. So we were drinking them out of Oregon Pinot glasses at Alberty's shop. Loved this wine too, but...
Or I meant these two are different.
Oh,
But,
sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm going to pour a little more here. But yes, these wines, as far as their characteristics, could not be further from each other. This one's almost a little sweeter and a little more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just giving, as far as like its fruit is just right out in front.
Yeah. It's got a lot more
Roundness,
round feel
yeah,
to
there
it.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah, the fruit just kind of jumps out. I think the strawberries from the nose, the raspberries from the nose carry through. There's a little bit of strawberry flavor there too. They stay delicate, right? They're full, like they do jump out of the glass. They never get really heavy.
No.
And there's no like, I mean, that's something nice out of the zero dosage too. Like there's definitely no sense of it being candied or like artificial
No, not at all.
fruit or anything like that. It's like yeah, a real fresh feel to it.
Absolutely. There's a little more texture to the bubbles here than on the Kramer Brut. Like they have a little more, you can actually sense them on the palate, so it's a little more edgy. Wow, I can't talk. A little more edgy, but the flavors here are just ripe and delicious and right there. Really, really pleasurable wine.
Yeah.
So, a little more straightforward though,
Mhm.
but at the same point, like just absolutely fun to drink.
And now it's in my head, like I want to drink it with salmon. Like I feel like
Oh,
that would be
yeah.
a really good pairing too, because the fruit's definitely there for it.
Yep.
The acidity's definitely a little on the lighter side. It's still a
It is.
crisp wine, but I feel it's like more crisp, like instead of tart. Still dries on the back end of the palate, but it's a little more on the sides than down the center.
It's like it's like raspberry and whipped cream, and it's just this is just fun to drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Got a delicate sense to the bubbles there too. Yeah, this is.
88 plus for me, 88 points,
Mhm.
somewhere in that wheelhouse. It's a little more straightforward, but a little more immediately pleasing. I think Kramer's a little more intellectual, but man, just really well put together. That's really delicious. So, what about you?
Yeah. Yeah, 88 plus for me. No, I'll give it 89.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the flavors like it's easy drink. It doesn't quite have the complexity. Makes me feel better about like taking that to 90 because that little
Absolutely.
kind of two-tier
Yep.
flavor thing's really going in there. This is a little more straightforward, but the flavors are still really enjoyable. And for a rosé wine too, I think that the the Pinot Noir flavors are really present. I like the red fruit flavors.
Mhm.
In a wine, in a rosé wine, when they're not too heavy, it's not too dark. Like it, I think it's a good package.
I agree. All right, so 2 killer wines on the show.
Mhm.
Glad I actually had these in the refrigerator.
Yeah, totally. This is a cool
That
show.
was a good pick.
Right.
And just for the question of the day, did you have anything? I mean, I got one if you don't.
Go for it.
Yeah, so it's just going to be there's a lot more Oregon sparkling wines coming out. What are some of your favorites? Like, what have you tasted? Like, we haven't got to get out and taste much lately, or at least I haven't. I know I've got some initial picks, but like I really know that there's a lot more out there that I've been getting to. What are some of your favorite Oregon and even California, Washington
Sure,
sparklers?
yeah.
Would love to hear West Coast sparklers.
Give us
Got
some
any
tips.
advice? Yeah. Maybe we'll check them out. So, and lastly, a shout out to John Moser. I heard you're coming to the Willamette Valley
Yeah.
sometime in August. Cannot wait to hang out, man.
Yeah, we're ready.
We're gonna, we'll even if we can't hang out for too terribly long, we'll make it worth your while. So
Yeah,
we'll
should be
see
good.
you soon, man. And the rest of you guys, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.